Chivas Watson is a community leader, organizer, entrepreneur, and educator. He is the founder and director of Service Agency Working Group 512, WG 512, which seeks to improve the delivery of justice by remaining proximate to community issues and effective in distributing resources. Experiencing criminal justice reform, he became an inmate lawyer on his way to prison in 2020, working on roughly 515 cases and 378 days served, helping 110 men gain their release, as well as himself before being wrongfully convicted in February 2020. Operating in Houston, Dallas, Abilene, and San Antonio as well, Chivas serves as a catalyst in projects, initiatives, and startups as proprietor of United Consulting based in Austin, Texas. I will say this about Brother Chivas before he comes up. This is really a drop in the ocean of what this brother is really about and what he does. I am modeling our organization's grassroots activity. I am modeling our organization's grassroots activity on what he does. Brother Chivas Watson.
Greetings and welcome again to our listeners today, as well as to our supporters and allies around the world. I'm Chivas Watson, Executive Director of Service Agency Working Group 512, and also a creative developer within the Grove of Care Alliance. I come in the name of the Most High God and His army, which includes strong leaders and warriors that we today call our ancestors. Originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, I was born in the era of both the Reagan and Bush administrations. Because of this, I was raised under the teachings of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Juana Kajufo, Dr. Amos Wilson, and Brother Malcolm X, of who was once quoted, "You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom." I too was raised to be a so-called black man. Yet as I developed, I learned that we are so much more than black and brown, and so much more than any label our oppressors have ever placed on us. So I ask you, is justice without freedom? Is freedom without justice? Brothers and sisters, we are not free here in America. We've yet to gain any justice that speaks to us collectively. The Crown Act is not true justice. A black woman on the Supreme Court is not true justice, as we're seeing. And even electing Barack Obama to be president didn't turn out to be justice for us. Again, are we free? Make no mistake about it. Donald Trump is an oppressor. Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Jeff Landry, and Marjorie Taylor Greene are both names and examples of our modern day oppressors. Frankly speaking, the Republican and Democratic parties are littered with oppressors to the Black, Latino, and Indigenous, Native, man, and woman. The aforementioned names, political entities, and also generations of community members that have stood with them do not truly care about us. Our ideas of freedom and liberty are curated through their lenses. Even our desires and passions are inspired from their standards. Our collective power is truly wrapped in their commercial businesses and platforms. We only know ourselves as the labels they gave us. We only estimate where we came from as slaves. So we do not collectively know our identity. We truly do not know what time it is. So how can we ever achieve peace? How can we ever achieve freedom? Since 2022, our oppressors claim to have been designing Project 2025, aiming to recruit thousands of conservatives to truly change the existing federal landscape to characterize the so-called deep state, and to publicly display the objectives of this country's next Republican president. As Sister Dixon Gilbert said earlier, they've been designing this even since 1973, the year before mass incarceration legs into golf in 74. As Tamani said earlier, roughly 120 conservative organizations have contributed to this 920-page document. They aim to eliminate or reconfigure over 30 various departments which currently exist under the federal government and federal lens, such as the Department of Justice, discussed in chapter 17 of the Project 2025 document, and claiming that the DOJ has two primary functions in both protecting public safety and defending the rule of law. Brothers and sisters, I simply do not know when the Department of Justice has ever protected the public safety of so-called Black or brown people, nor defended the rule of law as it speaks to us all, free, slave, and able. Let me speak to a few promoted concepts within the document. Number one, prioritizing protection of public safety. If you read this section of Project 2025, you'll find that our oppressors use terms such as our citizens, and also cite what appears to be comprehensive survey data from all Americans. Yet the narrative specifically speaks to enforcing immigration laws, combating criminal enterprises, and matters of terrorism and tyranny. Those that are in support of this document believe that by reconfiguring the FBI, that federal civil rights will be protected. But when has the FBI ever upheld our federal liberties and guarantees, such as our right to privacy in the Fourth Amendment, our right to voluntary travel in the First and Fifth Amendment, and our right against cruel and unusual punishments in the Eighth Amendment, ever? From the firearms to the street dope sold in our communities, and even the dope solicited and sold across the counters in our local businesses. When has the Black, Latino, or indigenous man or woman been the creator or primary provider of any of this? I remember being 4 years old in 1991, witnessing the police bring suitcases into the Desire Projects of Eastern New Orleans. My brothers and sisters, we have never been creators or curators of drug manufacturing and trafficking, only runners and sellers. The Department of Justice has always ensured that lower court systems enforce and uphold the creation of a second-class citizenship, with the result not only causing 1 out of 3 Black men to be labeled as felons, 1 in 6 Latino men as felons, but also resulting in over 45,000 laws, statutes, and policies to lock us out of the labor and housing markets. This has caused family after family to be destroyed. Even the idea of a family structure to be destroyed in the minds of many of our young adults as they grow and develop. So protecting public safety for who again? Number 2, restoring the FBI's integrity. If you weren't aware, the FBI was started in 1908 to tackle national crime and security issues. In Project 2025, conservatives now want to review all FBI investigations and terminate any that are unlawful or contrary to the national interest. Brothers and sisters, with all I've offered thus far, who does the national interest come from? Or even speak to? Certainly not the so-called Black, Latino, and indigenous Native man or woman. Haven't we demanded FBI investigations in Harris County over the last decade? Isn't it a national interest of Black and brown people that we want to be free from police interference in our communities? I say this thinking of Brother George Floyd, Sister Breonna Taylor, Sister Vanessa Guillen, and even Sister Sandra Blank. One was in Minnesota, one was in Kentucky, one was in Fort Hood, Texas, and one was right here in the Houston area, right off of 290 and Waller. Haven't we amplified this national interest of ours? No. They now want to place the FBI within the Department of Justice, aligning it with all levels of law enforcement and national security entities. Brother and sister, have you in your community seen these departments as disconnected? Certainly not. In all the years of the FBI's investigative commands, local police have killed brothers and sisters like Fred Hampton. And pro-police supporters have killed brothers and sisters such as Medgar Evers in Mississippi and Jimmy Lee Jackson in Alabama. Another question: is the FBI currently against the establishment of cop cities across America? So again, what they say, that's what they say is a national interest to connect these departments from the top to the bottom. But yet, who does this benefit? Number 3, defending the rule of law. Rule of law is a principle under which all persons, institutions, and entities are accountable to laws that are publicly promulgated, meaning to openly declare, publicly announce or proclaim, equally enforced, independently adjudicated, and consistent with international human rights principles. When has this definition of rule of law ensured that the laws are upheld in our favor? Has any Republican ever openly proclaimed the rule of law in our favor? No. Again, brothers and sisters, do not be fooled by the verbiage of your oppressors. The rule of law has been and will be in Project 2025, bent and linked into the national interest of white power. Make no mistake. They claim that Project 2025 will pursue equal protection for all Americans by enforcing federal civil rights laws in government, education, and in the private sector. Again, this is extremely far-reaching. When all of our lives, equal protection has only been a theoretical term. They make a claim against non-discrimination in the text, but why? Could it be because Trump is a felon now, or because Marjorie Taylor Greene is a bleach blonde, a bad Bill Butch Biden type person? Yeah, I bet the Republican Party is interested in protecting discrimination now, but have they spoken to any of the racial epithets used by their own? I'm asking that we as the people who are specifically left out of any of the Project 2025's mentions, not to ever consider that the rule of law will be in our favor. They know that we don't collectively study nor know the laws in this country. They want to eliminate redundant offices so they can independently and with full autonomy manage the Department of Justice. Find this on page 570. All essential reforms speak to themselves. Those in the Republican Party who are enforcing that white power remains as the authority. There are no reforms mentioned to policing, qualified immunity, judicial conduct, prosecutorial misconduct, and more items that we see daily. Brothers and sisters, I guarantee you that Project 2025 is only the conservatives' promise. There are no democratic ideals, for the Republic is uninterested in having a democracy in this country. Our justice will never come until we are truly free. Free as the Asian man and woman have been. Free as the Arab man and woman have also been. Many of us don't know that the Saudis, they own all of the water from Albuquerque all the way west. Our freedom will only be after we achieve justice, and only then will we collectively find peace. As Dr. Amos Wilson said, if you want to understand any problem in America, you need to look at who profits from that problem, not at who suffers from that problem. Let me ask this final question for your inner review. If Republicans saw so many problems in America which caused the creation of Project 2025, then who is it that profits from Project 2025 and who is it that suffers? We will continue to suffer. We will have to vote as we did in 2007, 2008 to overcome the potential of Republican order to be in place as this document promotes and desires. There will be no peace with this project. There will be no justice. There will be no freedom, even less than we have now. I cannot take any more time to dig into this ridiculous attempt to paint America red. I've taken enough. If anyone wishes to dig deeper into Project 2025 from a justice lens, please give us a call at 832-598-1357-1347 or send us an email to workinggroup512@gmail.com. Thank you.
Anybody have a question for the chair? So, based on your research you've done, beautiful response, thank you very much. Again, much love and respect. What do you think our first step needs to be as it relates to the justice part of Project 2025?
As I think about here in Houston, I think all 3-4 million Black folks and all Latinos need to come together and fill the courtrooms. Okay. So that we can observe the nature of the court proceedings and so that we can physically witness all of the manipulators. Then come around November, since we all love slabs and stuff here in the Houston area, we use every vehicle to fill up every voting booth, every polling location. Every polling location. Our sister who left earlier, she forgot that on her election day, she wasn't even on the ballot in North Houston, where I was. I think it's time that we prepare for war, and that's an old template to prepare for Project 2025. as Project 2025 is ushered and we also move closer to a cashless society, again, who will profit from all of this? And if we don't, as the brother was saying, if we don't dig into information and education enough, I feel where Jeff is coming from, but we gotta mix both of those things. Because so many of us, 3 out of 4 brothers, don't understand law at all. 3 out of 4 brothers, Dr. Amos Wilson said, don't even believe in freedom. They just believe in what the white man say, what John Smith or Richard Franklin wrote. I think we need to take our money out of Nike and Reebok and the Houston Rockets and the Houston Texans and put our money into transportation so that we travel wherever Black folks are and have this same conversation. And we make it real simple. When has the rule of law ever benefited us? And we ask from generation to generation, have you ever understood the law?
I have to answer that question.
We take those that do, and we promote them as leadership. We take those that don't, and like Jeff said, we take their hands and put them in the dirt, so that we all inspire a shared vision to not just respond back, but to understand the legality of these things. I mean, they're trying to do away with treaties. Once white power does that, again, as Black folks, we need to take a step back and stand right along with our Latino brothers, with our indigenous native brothers. Because when the treaties go, we'll have more foreign invaders. And it won't be a matter of calling the FBI. I know that to be true. You won't be able to call Missouri City Police or Houston Police. You'll have to physically respond. Or you have to be able to physically negotiate. And white man, Asian man, Arab man, and even many facets of the African kingdoms. They look at us here in America and they know we don't know the law and we can't negotiate nothing. So again, I think we need to create new space. Let's stop all the fantasy football and all of the sports spaces and create new space. So, Dr. Amos says that every year, us Black folks should have spaces of reconciliation where we address affiliations and debts. We should create new community space to talk about what's happening here in America, what hasn't happened here in America. Use those spaces for legal education. Again, 9 out of 10 brothers that I've asked don't even know who the authorities are here in America. They think the police are, or the district judge, because that's all they know, and don't know it's the Supreme Court judges and the lower court judges. But 9 out of 10 couldn't tell me a case to go look up. Again, I can understand. I got some pushback in the community from folks that say the Constitution is only a white man's document. But I can show you white folks that stand up hard for their constitutional rights. Why don't we copy that? So we've got to step back and rethink ourselves. We got to create a true standard, especially here in Houston, and we have to start eliminating foolish spaces that I think organically would keep money in our community, but would give us the hours that it takes to achieve a mastery level of knowledge as it pertains to the law. Because again, the Constitution speaks to common law, and common law is pulled from the Holy Bible. So it's not like the law is much different. We just don't know what the law says. We just know how the law treats us. Any other questions?
All right, my man, Brother Chavez always brings it every time he speaks. And this is why it's so important that we identify the intelligentsia that already exists in our communities, because we do have what's needed to formulate a response to this Project 2025, but from our perspective, based on what we need to do. Solutions 7 and 8. One of my mentors had a quote that she used to say at the end of her radio show. No one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will be done. We got to make time. Solution number 7, we got to make time, at least 2 hours a week, to join an effort, our effort, because we're doing it to mobilize and organize our streets into our neighborhoods and our zip codes. If you can give, Asada Shakur, Joanne Chesimar said, if you can give 40 hours a week to your oppressor and you can't give 1 hour a week to your own people, then you're part of the problem. We got to make time to give to the poor project of our own people. That's solution number 7. Solution number 8, commit to supporting us, Grow for Care Alliance, and everything that we do. In our community, mobilizing and organizing events, much like this one in 2 weeks on June 23rd, which is a Sunday, we have a film festival. We're going to show 3 movies, and watch them and then talk about them, because we have a lot to learn about how the system works, what is done to our people, how we can maneuver within it, how we build within it. We got to understand that we are in the matrix, but we have to build Zion in the matrix so we can do our own thing, because we don't have the power to control the matrix. So we need you to commit to supporting us in all of our efforts to have events, to be a part of the community. We're not ever going to have an event that's not about introducing, educating, mobilizing, organizing, and activating our people. Because for us, that's what life is about, getting our people to have their own power to do our thing. That is solution 7 and solution 8. I'm going to introduce the next speaker.